Good to be back. Backbenchers, hashtag us with ES backbenchers. This is pretty shocking, actually. I didn't know this, but diseases linked to cold, damp, overcrowded homes are killing more New Zealand children than car accidents and drownings. So my question simply, someone shouted out shame over there, but around the panel, is that a scandal? Let's start with Chris Bishop. Is it a scandal?
Yes, it is a scandal, and that's why by 2019 it will be compulsory for every rental property in the country to have adequate insulation. And my message to landlords out there is there's subsidies available from the government.
Should it be sooner?
Go and get your...
Should it be sooner?
Well, it's only for 14, 15, 16 months away. My message to landlords is go and take advantage of the government subsidy and insulate your rental properties for tenants, because by 2019 it will be illegal not to.
All right. Is it a scandal, Denise?
Yes, it's totally a scandal. I mean, there's something like 1,600 people dying from diseases from cold housing in this country every year. And, you know, we could be implementing so much more. The government
like
scheme...
What?
Well, like, you know, Warrant of fitnesses that ensure that the house is warm, safe, dry, insulated, not just insulated on the tops and bottoms, but that there has good heating, that there is, and that there is secure tenure, so that people can put down roots in communities and build safe communities.
So leasing for life, like a European model, so landlords can't kick tenants out.
Well, yeah, I mean,
right,
these overseas models that really, really work, and what it does is that it's good for landlords because you don't have to go through this.
Let's go to Chris Hipkins on this. I mean, this is shocking stats. Say more kids killed in cold houses than elsewise. Is it a scandal?
It is an absolute scandal, and we absolutely have to do something about it. It's not just about improving the quality of housing, which we have to do through a Warrant of Fitness scheme, but it's also about increasing the supply of housing. Because at the moment, slum landlords are relying on the fact that there just aren't enough houses to go round.
Are there many of them? Are there many slum landlords, do you think?
Absolutely. I know. I can tell you some of the slum landlords in my own electorate where they're basically relying on the fact
Give us
that
an example. Give us one example.
Well, I could take you to some flats in Trentham and Upper Hutt, where the slum landlords are basically getting away with renting out crap accommodation at inflated prices because there aren't enough houses for people to live in.
All right, is this a scandal?
Yeah, of course it's a scandal. I actually agree with Chris. I think part of the solution is having tighter standards for existing rental properties, so the Warrant of Fitness idea has got merit, but another part of it is actually getting rid of redundant stock and building new stock that complies with standards. Anyone who rents a property has got a right to rent a property that's livable, and I think that's got to be the test.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, hands up, anybody who rents? Oh, actually, Charlotte, you go to your guest first.
Well, I've got the Victoria University Head of Students Association, right, Rory?
Yeah, Student President. Hey, how's it going?
Very good. So you have actually made a big deal of this, the poor renting conditions that Wellington University students face.
Yeah.
And what happened?
Yeah, we've been campaigning on it for a long time because, you know, the vast majority of our students live in cold, damp, horrible flats.
Are they as bad as, what was being described before?
Very different to this pub. I can say you've obviously nailed the insulation in this pub because I'm sweating up in here. There's no flat in the country that's as warm as this pub. But, yes, it's a massive issue. Students are getting sick from their cold, damp flats. And
So then they can't study, they can't, learn as well?
Exactly, and the rental WAF is the obvious solution, in the same way that cars need a WAF to be safe. Cafe owners need to get a health certificate in order to serve food out of their cafe. Why do houses not require a WAF before they can be rented and before landlords can make a whole lot of money from them?
Well, speaking of which, it's very interesting. The WAF, the Warrant of Fitness for Houses, I've got the lady here that has invented it or created it, really. Is that right?
Been part of the team, yes.
Lucy, you're from Otago University Department of Public Health, and you've even made an app. What does the WAF include? What does it cover?
So the Warrant of Fitness covers heating, insulation, ventilation, basic hygiene, and also some structural questions.
What's basic hygiene? Like
So does the toilet work? Have you got a working stove? That kind of thing, yeah.
Is it expensive to get a Warrant of Fitness on your rental property?
So in Wellington, it's been priced at $250 for an inspection, and that covers a re-inspection if you need one.
And how long does that last?
That lasts for 3 years.
That's not too bad. What do you think, Wallace?
Well, I want to know, so is this like a National Heart Foundation check? Is that what it's like? You can actually easily identify a very warm house. Is that the deal?
Well, it will tell you that the property has the things that are needed so that the tenant can keep it warm and dry.
Who's a renter here? Who rents? Hands up. You, Charlotte, go to that person right with the green.
Where do you rent?
Berhampore.
What do you pay per week?
$189.
And what's the quality of your flat like? Is it cold?
It's pretty cold and pretty damp, to be honest.
Do you think it would pass a warrant of fitness test?
Maybe, probably
Well,
not.
hang on, mate. Hang on. Why don't you just call your landlord? I'm a landlord. Why don't you just call him and say, I need a warmer place, or I need some insulation?
Well, yeah. It would be a bit scary, kind of confronting the landlord, and he might kick us out.
Have
so
you
we'd
got
be
a
too
heater?
scared to.
Have you got a heater?
Yeah, but the rooms are very, very like wide and very badly insulated. So
What's power bill? Expensive power bill too.
yeah, massive. We got $90
Wow.
each last month.
And how many do you live with?
5.
So.
All right. Hey, who else around you's a renter?
Who else rents? Who's a renter up here? You guys? Do you flat? Live at home. You're a renter.
Oh, yeah. I rent from myself.
Oh, so you have a mortgage.
So, actually, I get tax preferred status, as Gareth Morgan has been saying a lot of the time. Because I rent for myself, I don't pay any tax on the rental I pay myself. So, I'm doing really well out of it.
There you go.
Well done.
There you go. So around the panel then, should a warrant of fitness then, you've heard the stories, be compulsory, not voluntary?
Actually, it should
Peter
apply
Dunne.
to all housing, not just rental accommodation, but also private accommodation, because the public health is the public health wherever it occurs. So I think that it's a good idea to have it for rental accommodation, because people who rent are at the most vulnerable. But actually, I think it also should apply to every other house
all
as
right,
well.
so I buy food by National Half Foundation Chick. I know it's healthy. I want a simple way, a flashlight to tell me how the health's healthy. Chris?
I think it will catch on in time, but only if we do what Chris is suggesting, just build more houses. Because if you don't have enough houses, then you've got a fixed supply and a high number of renters chasing those houses. There's no point in using a rental WAF. You take what you can get. It only works when you've got a market where there's choice.
No, actually, it can work if you have regulation and you have...
I agree.
And it's actually checked. What we've got with
We are.
the government's
We are.
idea is actually
Thanks for the
voluntary,
gratuitous
and
advice
it's
from
not
before.
being checked. So we've got no way of knowing whether it's working or not. So it's got to be compulsory.
Look, hey, tell you what, for a lot of people in New Zealand, Auckland particularly, owning a rental is owning a small business. It's their retirement.
Yeah, that's
Why
right.
should we be lumped with these extra sort of hassles by making our sort of...
For one very simple reason. If you were running any other small business, there would be certain standards you would be
you
expected to
comply.
comply with.
That's
It's
right.
the same as this. This is a compliance issue in terms
Yeah,
of
and guess what?
running your business to a certain
That
standard.
landlord,
If you
like,
can't-
hang
if you
on,
can't
Peter,
do it,
that
then move
landlord,
on.
like me, like I'm a landlord, that money, that fee we passed on to my tenants.
Well, that may well be so, but actually you're still actually putting them in a situation where their health is not being put at risk, where they're in a safe, warm environment. That's the least you'd expect, I would have thought.
Is it, Chris?
Yeah,
Why should I care?
Absolutely,
It's
of
a
course.
business.
Well, because exactly, and you have a responsibility to your customers, who are the tenants, to make sure that you're providing them with the service that they're paying you for, which is an adequate standard of accommodation.
Denise?
Yeah, definitely
Chris,
you should comply.
do you agree with me? Why should I do it?
Well, why should you do it?
Yeah.
Well, because for the exact reasons that Peter says. It's in society's interests to have
common good.
adequate, safe and secure rentals that people can live in, in a warm environment.
We're all agreeing here. Furious agreement on the panel for the first time in like 12 episodes. Very, very good. Look, what do you think about this? So stay with us. Next up, is New Zealand in need of serious drug reform? Backbenchers.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.